In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Campervans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 103 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at the Kiln Cabin in Sundance, Utah, talking with Kevin Deneen, the CEO and co-founder of Moterra Campervans. Without Kevin and the support from Moterra Campervans, the Kiln Road Trip would not have been possible. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you enjoy. This is the Kiln Road Trip, where we set off on a journey in partnership with Kiln and obviously Moterra. To go and interview 100 different people, and we could not have done this interview without you. And it would be great if you can introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about yourself and the company that you created.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, guys, and we're really excited to be a part of what you're doing. I'm Kevin Deneen. I'm one of the co-founders of Moterra Campervans. Moterra is we operate the largest rental fleet of Mercedes Sprinter camper vans in North America. We've got a fleet of nearly 70 vans in 7 locations. We started 7 or 8 years ago in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and we've expanded. Most of our locations are in the kind of Rocky Mountain West and West Coast, but we are now present in Maine as well. So we've got an increasingly national footprint. And I live in Park City, Utah, and I've been here for 2.5 years. And after a year of kind of navigating working from home with my girlfriend, in our apartment, I decided it was time to branch out and join Kiln about a year ago. And anyway, that's how we find ourselves here.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so, Kevin, where did it start though? So the idea of I'm going to go off and I'm going to get a fleet of camper vans and create this business.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think so myself and another of our co-founders, Gabe, grew up in Western Colorado. He and I grew up playing soccer together, and we grew up in a really special place where we just had constant access to the outdoors. And there's kind of mountains on 3 sides, and then this awesome kind of Moab-y desert environment pretty quickly in the other direction where there's not mountains. And so, as I'm fond of saying, outdoor recreation was bred into us from an early age, and so it's kind of core to who we are as people. Our third co-founder grew up in California, but same type of deal, just had incredible access. And so we've kind of been lucky to live lives where outdoor recreation is just a huge part of, certainly as a child with my family and friends, going out and adventuring, vacationing, doing all this kind of stuff, skiing on the weekends, was just that was normal life to us. And then as also kind of as moving, into adulthood, a lot of my most formative memories have continued to be getting out with friends, families, business partners, et cetera, and having experiences outdoors. So the original insight, we always were spending time in the outdoors as individuals. And Gabe and Trevor, our third co-founder, they had worked for about a decade for a company that really kind of defined active travel as a category. So their kind of bread and butter trips it's a 45-year-old company, I think, at this point, called Backroads now. And they've always been called Backroads, but they're 45 years old now. They basically do these cycling trips and other hiking, multi-sport trips, but their kind of bread and butter is taking people out on vacations where you're doing cool stuff during the day, all day. It's not sitting at a resort, but they want the kind of comforts of a resort or kind of a nice hotel bed to go home to and kind of recover in at the end of the day of adventures. And so they kind of were in touch with this kind of high-end clientele that was interested in outdoor active adventures and kind of saw what was happening in the van space. A decade ago, there were some budget camper van ran rental companies that some of which still exist, but nobody was doing anything. It's kind of a cool experience for young people, college age kids, people earlier in their careers to go out and kind of explore and save some money on hotels. But nobody was doing anything that kind of catered to and dare I say, slightly more refined audience that kind of wanted to have parts of the same experience, but wanted, they want the comfort of a really comfortable bed but they want access to great places and great experiences, and want to be able to kind of travel in a more less planned and a more spontaneous way. And so we kind of sought out to enable that experience for folks.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how long have you been operating again?
8 years now.
8 years.
Yeah.
What's been I guess one of the more difficult challenges of building the company that you're building?
It's the list is so long.
Yeah.
To highlight one, I think, one of the things that my professional background was very different. I was kind of involved in business building, but as a venture capitalist, so being a capital partner and sitting on the board and kind of offering advice. But company building is just at the highest level so fascinating to me, because the challenges, there's always challenges. Like every month there's something new. And it's always pretty different. It's always something that that you can kind of anticipate certain challenges, but then there's a whole host of things that just kind of come up. And we've been scaling pretty rapidly. There's a whole host of things that come with that. And how do you kind of scale processes that work when you can kind of get everyone around in a small room and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we do things. This is, this is kind of the protocol, but then how do we scale that? Now there's 3 of us and 7 locations. And so we can't be at all places at all times. And so just the kind of continuation of that, we're always, our process is also not, or the experience is, we're not like trying to keep static. We're always trying to improve that. So there's always these, I would say probably the biggest challenges, to get back to answering the original question, is just knowing where to focus. Cause there's all these, like, kind of imagine sitting in front of a big soundboard or something. There's always like dials and, there's infinite changes that could be made, and kind of deciding where to focus our energy and effort for kind of maximum impact for ourselves and our clients is kind of the never ending optimization that we're working on.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, it's really, I can just say, so from our side, we got to experience Moterra and the Campervans and working with you, which has been super awesome. Obviously, we loved traveling in the van. It was very comfortable. The drive was super easy. And yeah, like Spencer, you could probably talk about what it was like to sleep in there for 8 or 9 days in a row. But honestly, definitely an incredible partner. We appreciate, you made everything super easy for us, and we legitimately could not have done this without you. And be interested to know, obviously any other partnerships that you've done in the past. I know we just talked with Carly Driscoll from Nordica. But yeah, anything else that's also coming up in terms of other partnerships or yeah.
We've got a bunch of stuff in the works. The partnership with Nordica and Carly is very much that's kind of next up. It's going live here just in the next couple of days, and it's launching. We're recording in December, and that tour is gonna run from January through March. Mm-hmm. So that's a really exciting one. We just finished. We were a sponsor of the Solomon Free Skis. They do kind of a movie film tour that's also another international. They go into Canada as well. Another kind of ski thing that because it's a film promotion tour, it's earlier in the season. They're not actually skiing. They're just kind of hanging out.
A Solomon ski film?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
they had I think it was 4 different movies that their athletes had put together. That's cool. And it was kind of this kind of traveling exhibition where they had another one of our vans wrapped up and decked out in Solomon gear and a bunch of swag that they were kind of giving out at all the events with some great partners, Yeti and a host of others. And so it was just really fun, really entertaining. It was like there was 16 shows across North America. Most of them sold out, and it was I was lucky to attend 3 of them, I think. And just again, the kind of like preseason stoke, like filling the air in those theaters, and they were bringing athletes out to all the shows to sign autographs and to kind of talk about the movies, and it was a really great event. So we just wrapped that one up. We're very excited about this one. We have with Nordica, it's going to be much more kind of interactive, and we re-recorded an episode where we talked about what that's going to look like. And we've got some other stuff coming into most of our business vans, and most of the kind of opportunities to put these vans to work is in a little bit warmer temperatures. So we've got a bunch of stuff kind of in the docket, in the works, for the kind of spring and summer of 2024. But we're not even sure exactly what it's all going to look like, but we will keep you posted.
Can I just ask one more quick question? So when you heard about what we were doing, I guess, what was going through your head? What helped you make the decision that like, oh yeah, let's partner up with these guys?
It's kind of funny thinking about, we've been talking a lot about Carly Driscoll and Nordica, Women's North America. It was actually, she introduced me to the Kiln marketing manager, Kyle, who was your guys' partner at, I think, Primary Interface, with regards to what you guys are doing. And it was kind of, again, this like hyper, just a great demonstration of the magic that happens in places like Kiln, where I was hanging at Carly, we passed each other in the hallway. I don't remember this specific instance, but anyway, she's like, oh, you should meet Kyle. And anyway, we got to know each other. And then Carly told Kyle a bit about who we are and what we were working on with Nordica. Kyle immediately connected the dots and then and was good about chasing me. It was kind of in the height of our busy season, and took me a little while to kind of to have the bandwidth to kind of think it through. But as soon as we did, it was just like an obvious opportunity again to work with great people. That's always core to opportunities we choose to pursue. But then just to support Kiln has been an incredible place for me to work, an incredible partner for us in a lot of ways, and incredible. So it was a great opportunity to support them and you guys, and just kind of hopefully expose Moterra to new audiences. I know you guys covered a lot of ground and got a lot of eyes on the van. So it was it was a pretty obvious opportunity for us to contribite to and be involved in.
And it's just started.
Yeah.
So the road trip's over, but as we
right.
Get the message out there and actually publish content.
I'm so excited to see all the conversations that happen.
We had a few different options for vans, by the way. First of all, we had our VW van.
Right. Very cool.
which would have been really cool, but maybe we wouldn't have actually succeeded at all.
It would have broken.
A few more breakdowns.
Yeah. Breakdowns or just 60 miles an hour.
Exactly.
Right? And I'm so glad we didn't do that. And other options, but this one was the right one. I think you've been great to work with, and the vans are, I would have. Maybe you should describe what the vans are to our audience, but ultimately they're high-end Mercedes vans, but kitted out with the, with your products and the way that you've designed it internally. But it was a really good experience, wasn't it? I mean, we could definitely go faster than 60. I don't know how fast he went. No ideas because I was asleep, but
I'll plug my ears so I can tell him.
Definitely just a little over the speed limit.
But really comfortable.
We
had
got to test its capabilities.
There's a stove, a fridge that we had lots of drinks in, a sink, and I guess it sleeps 4.
Yeah.
Depending on how cozy you want to be.
Yeah, the model you guys are in has 2 full-size beds, so you can comfortably sleep 4. And yeah, I guess to talk a bit about our vans, we have a fleet of, like I mentioned, 70 of these things. They're all Mercedes Sprinters. They're all the shorter wheelbase. If people are familiar, there's kind of 2 lengths of Sprinters. The bigger ones are nice, but their maneuverability is one issue. It's just a little bit more more stress involved in navigating that, even on the interstate, but certainly around town or in the grocery store parking lot. But the other thing, basically the core experience that we're enabling, most of our clients are flying in, picking up a van and heading into a national park or some other place like that. And so the other kind of design constraint, the reason that we've focused exclusively on the shorter vans, which are 19 feet long, small technicality that is like totally lost on a lot of people, but 19 feet is the length limit for you to stay in a tent site at any national park and most state parks. So anywhere in the country, if you want to be camping in a national park and staying in a tent site, not an RV site, which there are many fewer of, and they're much more competitive because you've got the kind of retirement crowd that will wake up at 3 a.m. on some morning, get their spot, and just camp out there for 14 days. So if you're actually trying to plan a trip and get any diversity and kind of exploring different corners of one park or multiple parks, having a van where you can kind of camp in and have all the kind of creature comforts of having comfortable beds, memory foam mattresses, warmth if you need it, kind of all of that good stuff, but being able to kind of have full access to any of the campgrounds and kind of facilities, and just being able to safely and stress and kind of navigate in a pretty stress-free way is really kind of that is the experience that we've been very intent on kind of creating for people and enabling. And so we've got anyway, so long-winded explanation of the short wheelbase, and kind of the experience people have with them. But
it was a good experience, and we had it felt high end,
and
people, I think, we looked official as well.
Yeah.
We're a big deal when we're driving.
You get a lot of eyeballs. It's kind of one of the things that we don't talk a lot about it when we're sending people out on trips, but when people come back, they're always quite proud of you wouldn't believe the number of people that stopped us and wanted to poke their heads in the van. And we kind of say you don't really realize when you rent one of our vans that you're becoming an unofficial brand ambassador. And it's just it catches every eye that passes by it. And whether you're in a parking lot or a grocery store parking lot, a visitor center, a trailhead, or in a campground, people are just so curious about the vans because they really are. Again, the Mercedes Sprinters are awesome. We work with an awesome partner, Field Van, who's done. We don't do the builds ourselves, so we're very involved in the design because we're kind of enabling the client or the customer experience. But we don't do the building. We work with an entity. It's pretty amazing. It's a team and a facility that's been focused exclusively on van conversion for 30 plus years. They've got a ton of experience, and it's an amazing product, really high end, and they can do really anything. And so we've done some experimentation with them and eventually have landed on the 3 different models. You guys had one of 3 models that we offer, which are good for different group sizes and kind of slightly different components, but they're all awesome, and everyone's got their favorite. But the one you guys had is a crowd pleaser for sure. Right.
Well, before we ask maybe the last 1 or 2 questions, what is the vision then beyond 67 or whatever, 80 vans, the experience vision, or where you want to take it in a couple of 3-4 years?
Yeah. We've kind of touched on it a couple of different ways, but our core mission is not to be the biggest and best camper van rental company. That's that's our current focus for sure. And that is part of our mission, but our mission is really to make it easier for people to get outdoors and into the places that we love. And we know other people will love too. So there's a bunch of different ways to do that. The kind of camper van rental product is our core revenue stream today. We do have another product that's basically for people that either are too busy or are too intimidated, or just kind of, for whatever reason, they don't feel they want to go on said vacation, but they don't want to plan the whole thing. We've got an itinerary planning service where basically somebody that's got close to a decade of experience guiding in the region where you're going to be visiting, you'll get paired up with them. They'll kind of get to know you and your family or whoever you're going to be traveling with, and kind of plan out exactly like the perfect itinerary. So you can really, as we say, travel like a local and kind of skip all the stuff that's worth skipping and get to make sure you hit the highlights at the right time, get the right hike for sunset, and kind of be in the right places and grab the right breakfast on when you're passing by. So we offer that, and the kind of intersection of those of the trips that we're just renting people a van, offering whatever advice we can, but then sending them off on their own adventure, or the fully planned things. We are working pretty actively to launch group experiences where it probably will be something that's guided, where there's somebody kind of providing food and kind of coordinating activities, but then kind of bringing this element of community where many different groups or families can kind of come together, meet new people, get to kind of have the same experience, but not be on their own, so to speak. And so that's a product that we're working hard to launch. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that we can pursue our mission of making it easier for people to get outdoors and have amazing experiences. And there's a bunch of different directions we're considering, but it'll all be in that vein in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
So should we get to that question?
I think so.
Yeah. So we ask everybody this question. And it's tough because you already technically answered it in the Carly interview. So we're going to ask it again, but I'll give you an alternate option if you want. So technically 2 questions. You can choose to answer which one. What does it take to create something that never existed before? What does it take to create a movement? Or what does it take to challenge the status quo? So technically 3. You can choose one of those 3. Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln. Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Campervans, a luxury campervan rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra Campervans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
also ensure energy security with backup power during outages,
reduce carbon emissions with renewables.
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables,
and enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, I think I'll take the last one, I guess. Maybe it's just a recency bias, but challenging the status quo is, there's at its core, it's just a want to do things better. I'm sure this has been a theme of a lot of the entrepreneurs and innovators that you guys have been talking to on the trip, but it's not an instinct that everybody has, but to look at something and say, maybe it doesn't suck, but it could be done better, or maybe it does suck and it should be done better. So that kind of combined with, I guess, some form of self-belief that I could do that better. Like, I think I could, I think if I spend time, money, marshal a team, resources to try to create a different experience that'll be that I would like more, or that I know that a certain group of people will enjoy more than what's currently being offered. That's at least what inspires us to challenge the status quo to the extent that we are, which we definitely think we are. We think there's a lot of money gets unfortunately wasted on vacations that people look forward to, but don't live up to expectations. And it's such an important, vacation isn't the reason to live, but it's such a great opportunity to kind of recharge and kind of come back, not only rested, but hopefully inspired. And for us, we're trying to make that experience as seamless as possible. So, and like, it was just, there wasn't anybody doing that in this space. And so that's kind of what caused us to challenge the status quo.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in 2 ways. 1, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, at the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.